Okay, welcome to another Wednesday lunch live sketch where I eat my sandwich and do a little bit of drawing. First thing I want to hopefully my mic is working, so keep your fingers crossed on that one because that's a continuing issue. But the first thing I like to do is go over actually it's 2 weeks ago now that I'm looking at it. It's this guy here, this hockey player. I just want to do a quick overview or recap on him. And something I want to address, something that's bothering me. He initially was supposed to be very squarish. That was the whole concept behind him, that he was a kind of a square, bulky guy, kind of going down the street, ice, not street hockey. So I always wanted him to be a little bit more of a bruiser kind of guy, a little more runty, if you will. But now one thing that bothers me is that I made his legs probably, if I go like this, see, it bothers me even more. The more I zoom out, the more it bothers me. His legs are way too short. They just look. Hold on, let me see if I can take him down a little bit and put a quick reference corrections layer on top. I'm not going to do this now, but I'm going to leave this drawing as is. But I just want to point it out. Like I wish his legs were just a little, like a hair longer. I wish this skate came around here someplace. Just like a tad. I mean, he just looks like there's something wrong with him. I don't know what. Just a tad. And like now I wish this just a little bit. Just a tad. Yeah. Like this is nitpicky type stuff. And I didn't notice it until I did post it on the blogs and so forth. And I was viewing it at this size, and I was like, oh man, look how small his legs are. I just want to nudge them just a hair. But alas, I'm not. I'm going to leave it alone. Moving on. Maybe it bothers you. Maybe you don't even notice it. But every time I see this now, all I can see is his little tiny legs. Which, interestingly enough, no, I do not want to save it, will bring me into this week's topic, which is I've been getting into Attack on Titan. And I'm only halfway through the series. So today I'm going to do some Titans. So the first thing the thing that drew me to the series in the first place was these guys. They just creep me out. I like how kind of gooey they look, and like they're so elongated. Like their torsos are, and then they have runty legs, which is what I just got over crying about, was runty legs. But these guys they're so weird looking. They have massive heads. So the proportions are off, and yet they're rendered semi-realistically. So they just strike you as these odd, shambling creatures. And of course, I have to draw the Aaand, what he turns into, his Titan. Again, I'm only halfway through the series, so I'm not quite sure what is going on with him. What is his deal? Why does he have that ability? But I took the liberty to go ahead and just block in quickly a rough pass, just some gestural type stuff. Try to lock in some shapes. I have a reference layer. I wasn't quite sure of the details of his face, so I found that reference layer. We're going to put a new layer on top. We'll just call it, certainly isn't a tie down, but we'll call it a cross version 2. And we'll try and hone these shapes a bit more. Go something a little darker. I really feel like at this point I should have my colors picked out that I like, right? But now I have to constantly reinvent the wheel. So I knocked this transparency down just a little bit, just to knock it down, and then we'll go in. We can start refining some of this. You know, I already have the basics are going on here. I find it interesting. He has a very large, pointy nose. And his jaw is very has like a disturbing shape. I have a thing with teeth. Teeth creep me out. Okay, so right now, again, all I'm doing is I'm just going in there and refining what I have, refining the shapes. I wouldn't consider myself well versed in anime. Like I don't consider myself like being able to draw it as well as many others out there. There once was a time when I was highly into anime when I was younger. Let's try and get this eye to sit. You know, and then in the early 90s, he's looking at this guy. Hold on, let me fix the eye line. In the early 90s, I was way, my high school years, way into it. I'll just put this in, we'll get some tone. And like it just didn't exist like it exists today. In order to find anything, I had to go to the local video store, and it's called Suncoast Video, and they had racks of VHS tapes. This was even before DVD had taken off, and like they were $30 a pop, man. And you'd only get like 2 episodes on a tape, and that got expensive really quickly. So I mean, I would go there half the time and just stare at them. Like nothing like Netflix existed then. Like it's like just the sheer amount of it that exists now. Like I would go out of my mind if I had Netflix, I would just sit there and watch it all day long. But I kind of fell out of anime. I found a lot of it became very derivative. Even as I watch Attack on Titan, I feel like there's a lot of things that I feel like I've seen already. Just the acting choices, the melodrama is very thick, you know. This is too tight in here. I know he's supposed to have teeth here, so. Just a lot of the themes are the same. You know, I mean, essentially Attack on Titan is still kind of just your giant robot, quote unquote. I should give you some thickness. There we go. But I definitely used to go out of my way to watch anime. It was so much harder to find then. And then I just kind of fell out of it, really. Let me think about this hand here. So here's the shape of the hand. And let's just try and find an interesting design for this hand. Here's the pinky as it wraps around. So it's like, what is the shapes, the underlying shapes of this hand? Here's a knuckle, here's another knuckle. So this is an arbitrary. Let's get rid of that. Okay. I also like how buff he turns into. He's just buff. These guys are all doughy. He's buff. He just rips them up. So buff. Just cut, man. Just one massive titan. And again, I have two guys I'm working on here, so I don't know how far I'm going to get with this today. I aim to keep these relatively short, mainly because, like I said, I'm on my lunch break right now, and they have no genitalia. Shh, no genitalia. I'm on my lunch break, so it's all about quickness with this kind of stuff. This arm is going off a little bit into perspective. It's a little bit. Okay. Let's just find this to subdivide this. Let's thicken this up a little bit. Yeah, it's about finding the shapes that exist underneath, and then finding the form as it drapes over top. So that's all I'm doing right now. I'm just thinking about the shapes that exist under. He has a very pronounced cheekbone. Okay, I feel like I've gone far enough with him for now, because I want to get to the other guy. Because, like I said, those are those guys, the other Titans, are the ones that kind of drew me to this series in general. Anyway. Okay. Let's put some tone in here just to help it a little bit. Here's a shape, and then the form as it drapes over top of the shape, the skin. Okay. Okay, let's step back, let's take a look. Maybe his hair is too long. Still try to watch anime every once in a while. That's why I'm enjoying getting into Attack on Titan. It's enjoyable, you know. Let's do a quick lesson of the day. Save as you go, folks. Now I want to get to this guy because, like I said, I like these guys a lot. So we have a cranium. Okay, we have a subdividing eye line. Let's cleanly find the subdivision. And I want to give this guy a pronounced jaw. I'm kind of give him a very kind of okay. Here's the nose, and their mouths are very. First, let's get the nose in. Let's finish up what I started here. Okay, and their mouth very wide. I'm gonna give him a bit more of a crooked one. Very exaggerated. mean, I would say all of their mouths are, even the big muscular. I don't know the name of the big muscular guy. Didn't even occur to me like he had a here's his cranium. I'm just gonna rough this. Here's a jaw, right? Okay, and then here's his nose, pretty big nose, and like he has these things coming down, these muscular tendons, and like you see this mouth here, right? And this is what whoops, right? This is what we see. And we're like, oh, look at there's his mouth, but actually his teeth continue back here, which is frankly it's not very human, not anatomically correct. However, it works. And I think it's an interesting design choice to take this piece here and they're framing it with these tendons, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, it's a good piece of design. So let's get back to this guy. And they have tiny little teeth. They don't seem to have molars. They all kind of seem to have just like tiny little teeth, Cheshire cat type stuff. And this guy, he's gonna be dazed. Give him a bit of a crooked. Like I said, I'm looking for a crooked smile on this one. Hold on now. Let's fix this lip. Let's put it in there with authority. Okay, we got a little tone in here to show off the tongue. To revisit the eyes, and yeah, they're just kind of maybe half-lidded, droopy. We can push that a little more. Hold on. A little bit more lid. And I noticed a lot of them have low brows. The brows sit very low on there. Maybe it kind of gives them a bit of a Cro-Magnon type appearance. A little not quite no one home type thing. Okay, and let's give him some hair. Let's give him a really kind of caveman looking. Wild man, unkempt. Give him some puppy sideburns. Okay. How are we looking? Step back a little bit. How are we looking there? It's getting someplace, right? Save. Many times I've seen people lose their work because they just forget to save. A lot. I mean, Photoshop is good these days. I feel like if it crashes for whatever reason, it recovers. It just magically pulls out. A recovered file. I like how doughy these guys are. Like I said, they're just like a. Here's his man boobs. His moobs. Rib cage, and again, very extended torsos. Here's his nipples. Okay. Again, what's the form and the shape? And he's taking a step. I don't like this. I don't like that. It's too much definition for this guy. It's also kind of odd. And he's taking a step forward. So this hand's coming forward. Let's try and... This one might take a few seconds to kind of puzzle out. Let's see. If we just break it down into shapes. Here's a knuckle, here's a knuckle, here's a knuckle. Finger. And then subdivide it. Stick these two fingers together. The index. What is this? Ring finger and pinky. And it can be foreshortened. And again, it's all about the shape. What is the shape? What is it doing? And then what is the form? What is the flesh? In these guys' case, the flesh draped over top. We can probably close this up a little more. It's okay. It's okay. And this hand is receding slightly. All right, again, let's try and break this down. Knuckle, knuckle, knuckle. 1, 2, 3. Subdivide this shape. And then we come down from the palm into the thumb. Maybe break the pinky out. Let's see how that looks. There we go. It's a little more interesting. It's okay. This flubby, maybe too flubby. There we go. So this arm is receding because he's taking a step forward with this leg. This leg's coming at us. I'm going to try and wrap this up. I know it's been going for about 20 minutes or so. And here's his flesh back, his tush. That's the tush is the scientific word for that. Here's a belly button. Okay. Do they have belly buttons? Shoot, I don't know if they have belly buttons. They clearly were not born. It's part of the mystery of these guys. How about I take the belly button out? I'll take it out for now. Or how about I just do this? The hint of the belly button. Okay, this leg is stepping forward. Or, excuse me, this foot is receding back. Big toe, and again, we'll break it up into pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. And again, they have nothing. They just have these little weird floppies. And they have runty legs, like we spoke about before. Okay, now this is going to be a little weird because I kind of wanted it to be mid, like he's coming at it. He's stepping. He's in the process of stepping. So the heel will be making contact. Let's use some of that animator knowledge here. The big toe. Heel is making contact. And then we have, here's our other toes. 1, 2, 3. Subdivide it. Okay. Here's a pad of the foot. What I'm doing here is I'm finding the shape underlying it, and honestly, there's no point in me doing it other than the fact I'm trying to find what goes there, what's happening there. Ankle. So we go up into the shin, like you see. There's the shape there. Here's the shin going on. But I'm not going to draw that because then these guys are flubby. There we go. I mean, it would be cool if I had a. These guys are weird. I love them. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be great if I had time to. Whoops! I think I just lost my. I did. I lost my color. I sampled elsewhere. It would be nice if I had time to put in the background. Maybe I'll put the hint of the background at some point. But there we go. Here we are for today. Again, I'm doing 2 of these guys, so it's taking me a little longer than normal. But there you have it. Well, thank you very much for joining me today, and I'm going to try and do this every week around lunchtime. It's just when I have time between work, eat my sandwich, do a little bit of sketching. And thank you very much for joining me today, and hope to see you back next week.